The Dallas Cowboys are trying to fix their kicking issues from a year ago. The Dallas Cowboys have signed Greg "the Leg" Zuerlein to a multi-year contract to come in and hopefully compete to be their kicker, because of course this is going to be a competition, at least as far as I know it, because they also signed Kai Forbath earlier this offseason. This is kind of a deal here, I feel like, with the Cowboys, where they didn't quite know that Greg the Leg would be available and actually within reach for them to sign. So they addressed it multiple times just in case, because the kicker position, the Cowboys have learned that, yeah, it's a tricky one to figure out. And if you really don't have it figured out and you're not secure there, it can cost you football games and cost you W's and cost you the playoffs. And that was the case last year for the Dallas Cowboys. They lost a couple of games based off of their kicking. And that's not going to be the case if Greg the Leg is going to be there. At least it will be less common, because all kickers miss kicks. But when you're talking about a former All-Pro in Greg Zuerlein, it happens a lot less often. The thing that I really like about this is that the Dallas Cowboys will get a kicker in Greg Zuerlein who's consistent and he's reliable, but also he's not too old, and he has the range that a Maher had, and I think that's the reason the Cowboys kept Maher for so long, is the fact that he had incredible range to hit 50-plus, 60-yard field goals even, but he really was just inconsistent with his accuracy. And I feel like in the NFL, if you can have a guy that can kick 50-plus field goals with regularity, you have an advantage on a lot of teams in the league. There are a lot of teams in the NFL that don't know if their kicker's necessarily going to step up and make a 45-yard field goal or a 50-yard field goal with consistency. And with a guy like Greg Zuerlein, you can at least count on that it's going to be a better chance than anything for your kicker and for you to put up 3 points. And some of those drives that maybe you would have to go for it or have to punt the ball now turn into 3 points automatically, and you don't even have to really necessarily think about it, right? So with Greg Zuerlein, I think that's what he gives the Cowboys. He gives an upgrade at a position that is severely underrated in the NFL. A lot of the best teams in the NFL, whether you were talking about the Patriots over the last 20 years with Adam Vinatieri and Steven Gostkowski, whether you're talking about right now with Harrison Butker, or whether you're talking about Justin Tucker of the Ravens. I mean, a lot of the best teams in the league have consistent kicking, and they understand that a kicker is actually important. And maybe you don't really want to be spending a ton of money on a kicker, but if he's upper echelon, he is worth it. And I don't really think that this contract for Greg is out of this world or crazy or anything like that. When taking a look at how he's been as of late, he had probably his worst season in like 3-4 years that he had last year. He attempted 33 kicks, which was more than 2018, although he played less games in 2018, and he made 24 of 33. Doesn't really sound great on the surface. When you dive into the stats, he was 7 for 7 from 20 to 29. He was 7 for 8 within 30. He was 5 for 11 from 40 to 49. So that was where his trouble area was. He was 5 for 11. He missed 6 kicks from 40 to 49 yards, which is kind of rare. You know, when you look at the rest of his career, he has struggled a little bit from there. You know, he's had also really good seasons. 9 for 10 in 2013 from 40 to 49 yards, in the 40 range, I should say. 8 for 9 in 2015. 11 for 12 in 2017 when he was an All-Pro, and 4 for 6 last year in 2018. But he has had some inconsistencies as well. But where he's been very consistent, more consistent than other kickers, is from 50 yards, where even last year he was 5 for 7 from 50 plus. So you're getting a kicker that's almost deadly from, 20 to 40 yards, and then he gives you that extra bonus past the 50-yard marker. For whatever reason, he's been more inconsistent from 40, which was also the case with Maher a little bit. But I do believe that with Zuerlein, it will also help him playing in Dallas, where it's a little bit more of a controlled environment. It's easier to kick there than most places, and Dan Bailey was super effective for a number of years there as well, kicking. So it's going to be probably a battle between Zuerlein and Forbath. Now, I would give the advantage to Zuerlein because of the range and because he's been an All-Pro before and because of all those reasons and because of the contracts as well. But it would be interesting. Maybe they carry 2 kickers. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe they will. Who knows? Because more kickers, more often than not, some of them have been getting hurt. Like, speaking from my team, I mean, Gostkowski's been hurt like 2 of the last like 4 or 5 years. So kickers have been getting injured more lately than I can remember. I don't know why that is, but just throwing that out there. He's also been 100% from, or nearly 100% the last 3 years on extra points. He was 100% last year, which isn't a gimme anymore in the NFL. It used to be, but not anymore. Those are important points that kickers can miss, and Maher missed quite a few extra points. So overall, Greg Zuerlein, one of the best long-range kickers in the game, and has made a few clutch kicks in his career. You can count on him in those situations. So Greg the Leg goes to the Dallas Cowboys. I think it's a solid signing. I think it helps their special teams, helps their situational football, which is always key in the NFL. And he gives you a guy that can kick it through the end zone on kickoffs, and a guy that can hit long-range field goals and give you those extra points, turn in some less than stellar drives into 3 points. So Greg the Leg goes to the Dallas Cowboys.